Let's look at how the abortion topic slipped through the net and allowed fanatics to make decisions. We were very often afraid of using the slippery slope argument. Many people were completely shocked when Roe v. Wade was overturned and handed back to the states. But since then, we can see through the steady progression of ever more draconian laws with women that don't just affect progressive women or women who believe in the right to abortion. Nevaeh Crain in Texas was a Christian and pro-life, and she died holding her mother's hand from sepsis. The agony that women are suffering and how their lives are literally debased of value when they get pregnant, that they exist solely as a means to an end in some states because they're willing to let them die even for an unviable pregnancy, a fetus, a zygote that was doomed from the very start if it was an ectopic pregnancy, etc., etc. We can see that the slippery slope argument is actually valid here. The argument against it is it can be used anywhere, that, oh, the minute you do that and then you project some disaster as a result of it. And this it can be an argument against any policy. But we also know it's true that a spark can burn down an entire forest. We know that they intend to restrict these rights across all of the United States. What's even worse is that through their deceptive propaganda, women are dying for something that is hardly indistinguishable from what you spit out of your mouth when you're sick. Can you put yourself in the place of a woman who is in the hospital, whose organs are on fire, whose blood is on fire with infection, and they won't help you even though they know how they won't? As if the life of that fetus is worth more than that woman. Because that's what those laws are suggesting, whether they admit it or not. These laws have gotten increasingly stronger, even, prosecuting women for murder. They've wanted to try that in Missouri. They're wanting to accuse women of trafficking their own zygote or fetus to another state to get an abortion. I mean, these laws are crazy. And you would think they would have learned from Ireland, which just went more progressive after the death of innocent women. But that doesn't matter here to these people. And let's use the F word to describe them. They are fanatics. Their ideas are worth more to them than people. When you can look at a petri dish like this and think, yes, a woman should be willing to die for that if they have to put her life on a scale next even to a doomed fetus. A complete absence of morality. It's entirely nihilistic. Why is it nihilistic? Because it's not dealing with the real world. It abandons the real world for an ideal. It is nihilistic towards what's real and abandons it for what isn't. And their attempt to achieve this utopian goal, which we can see that there are some women that are even going so far as to have their tubes cut. And I can totally understand that. Even though there's a risk, yeah, they might regret it in the future. But the thing is, to get pregnant is literally to hand over the sovereignty of your life to the state, if you're in a red state. And very likely it will be that way in the rest of the United States. Conservatives and Republicans and MAGA, they handed power completely over to the conservative side. There's no check. We can't stop them. At most, we can use the courts. Personally, I think the rights of the women in these cases where they are dying for the sake of a totally unviable fetus, to me, that seems like it's indefensible in court. But once you accept the definition then they begin reasoning from ideas rather than reasoning from facts. That is nihilism. Because the real world is abandoned. And consider it seriously, because we have every reason to think the slippery slope actually applies here, because we've seen it. And we are constantly being shocked. And I think we may need to impose Enroll J. Eichstray to stop this, and maybe to stop other things like, robbing the VA of their benefits and robbing the elderly of their benefits and Social Security. All of this is so serious it's happening. Perhaps Enroll J. Eichstray is the only way that America will be able to deal with this. Think about it.